Welcome to How is Your Marketing? In this video, I'm going to be diving deep into one of my tools that I have to really help you get clear on your marketing, on your annual plan, on your business-to-business strategy, and for you to have an assessment on how your marketing is at this moment now. So my first question for you friends is, what have you completed with the foundation of your marketing? So you might be thinking, what does Katrina mean? I'm so glad you asked. So I mean your mission, your values, and your vision. I mean your personal branding and your colors. And you guys, if you are loving this assessment, head on over to my bit.ly down below, bit.ly/create it like a boss, and you can fill out the assessment and get some feedback and learn all about my fractional CMO program and a lot more in that link too, okay? So that's what I'm glancing at as you see me glancing at over at my computer, because I know it for the most part, but I'm human and we sometimes need bullet points or different things, right, to help us out. So number 3, do you have a personal website and or a blog? Take note, friends, I haven't mentioned anything about social media yet. Because if you truly want to build a brand and you truly want to have people's and brands' eyeballs on you, now, if you want to just run your business on Instagram or you want to just run your business on YouTube, have at it, friends. But keep in mind, you do not own those platforms. You do not have that contact information saved, and you are only monetizing to a degree, and the monetization is controlled by them. So you're missing out on courses. You're missing out on potentially events, retreats, brand engagements beyond those platforms. Yes, Google, Airbnb, WeWork, there's lots of brands that will work with you only on Instagram, but don't you want to maybe have long-term ongoing deals with them? Just saying. So back to the assessment. Speaking of, do you have a media kit and a biography page? You can see an example of mine at fitlifecreation.com/creator. Now, I would be amiss if I did not say what you're getting from these videos, from this series, from the information that I share is not solely at all like, me just knowing this, you guys. No. This is faith. This is prayer. This is investment in time and free resources as well as paid resources. I've been a student of Brendon Bouchard's for years. I've been a student of Marie Forleo's now for the 2nd year in a row as of this recording. I'm a student of Jasmine Star's. So I am constantly pouring into myself, both on a free basis and on a paid basis. And that doesn't even count the faith resources and communities, the wellness, the money, the marketing, the business, the travel, and the other communities. Speaking of, you can see all of that in my 75 plus tools and resources to create it a life and business you love that I've also included down below as part of this experience, okay? Back to the assessment. Your LinkedIn profile. Is your LinkedIn profile updated? One of the most amazing things is not only getting, messages, but utilizing LinkedIn to connect with people, directly. I also scale that with my virtual assistant and have a clear message that she sends out to targeted lists of people, which, by the way, you get some of those targeted lists as well in some of my experiences. And now let's talk about some more in social media. Oh, real quick on LinkedIn. If you have your LinkedIn profile updated, and you can see mine as an example, like you have your intro, you have your highlights, you have some articles or some things. Another thing that many people miss out on, you guys, is recommendations. Ask for recommendations and give recommendations. I give more than I receive. You'll see that on my LinkedIn as a clear example, but it is a perfect way to connect with people even further and for them to see recommendations and insight beyond from you, that these are other people you've worked with speaking about you, okay? So the next question is, have you at least started Instagram, okay? So I can tell you some of my stories, or part of my story is my first year on Facebook, sharing my before and after with my wellness results. The business grew 25 times simply in the wellness component. Okay, so I started asking the question, okay, what if I created this in a community? What if I created this on other social platforms? What if I joined with other creators and brands? Imagine the results over time. Ding, 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 right? Then have you at least started Pinterest? Have you at least started YouTube and or TikTok? And do you have at least a presence of over 5,000 people on at least one channel? Because what that's going to show me and tell you, friends, is that you are consistent and you are gaining traction on at least one media channel. Significant traction, okay? And it's not to say anything under that is not good. You could just be in process, but that shows me a level of consistency over time. And creating inconsistency in any area of life is so, so, so important. Hi, I'm Katrina Julia. I am a multi-passionate entrepreneur, traveler, athlete, creator, and CEO of Fit Life Creation, and I love helping entrepreneurs and mission-based brands create a life and business you love. I've had experience in over 7 different industries, an MBA and a CPA, and I've worked with brands like Victoria's Secret, NBC The Apprentice, Google, and Airbnb, and over 15,000 plus creators, entrepreneurs, and influencers as well. So let's create it. So after years in the making, I can say right now, because I'm taking the assessment with you as I walk through this, I can say on foundation, I am there. I checked off every single one. But again, this has been years in the making, tech, tools, and teams, okay? And I want that for you, because if you're listening to this, likely you are a creator and or a mission-based brand, and you deeply desire to create a life and business you love with freedom, with community. So now let's get into what have you completed with the stability of your marketing. So if you've tuned in the past into my videos, I talk about foundation, stability, and growth, and I talk about strategy, structure, and systems, because everything to me is driven first from the strategy. Like, what is the GPS? Where are we headed? What is the structure? What is the business model? What are the revenue streams? And what are the systems? What are the systems with tech, with tools, with teams? How are we simplifying to amplify? And then with that in mind, the way that my brain is wired is, okay, let's think about the foundation so that we do not have instability, so that we don't have feast or famine, so we don't have abundance and lack, okay? So the foundation is firm, and that's what we just talked about. Then we get into the stability. And then how are things stability? And that's why I just talked about, you guys, if you're paying attention, consistency and then growth. So in stability, you are monetizing in at least 2 to 3 ways that are clear. Let me say that again for the people in the back. You're monetizing in at least 2 or 3 ways. Well, Katrina, what does that mean? That means you're making money in at least 2 to 3 ways. Maybe you're getting collaborations off of Instagram. Maybe you have a signature high-end program. Maybe you have a challenge in Facebook that you run every single month. Whatever it is, you're monetizing at least 2 to 3 ways. And the reason why I say 2 to 3, you guys, is because especially if you are monetizing both business to business, so higher end ongoing money coming in, that tells me that you are much more abundance focused, and you're also taking care of you and you believe you are worthy. And if you have a second or third, that also shows me already you have the seedlings and you're already growing into business to consumer, into passive income, into online programs, whatever that is, into ongoing commitments and retainers from brands, into retreats, take your pick. But it means you are growing and you are very intentional about that growth. Better yet, when you have the launches line up B2B to C. And that's where I'm at now. And it's so exciting, you guys. And the flow starts happening easier and easier and easier. And the actions through the simplicity and then amplifying, the alignment and the action start happening so much easier. And then the tips, tools, and teams just magnify it all. Like I'm blown away myself in gratitude, like where I'm at now and the levels of, I call it Godfidence. Some of you call it confidence, but Godfidence plus action compared to say last year, compared to 90 days ago, and the clarity, okay? And that comes through consistency and action and putting yourself out there to create it. Number 2, you have a financial forecast and tool you use to track results regularly. So I'm going to tell on myself here also, because don't think Katrina Julia arrived at, oh, planet, everything's just working out all the time and life and business is like a waterfall. No, okay, no. There has been times throughout my entrepreneurial journey, more than I care to admit, of lack, of living off debt, of needing money from family, and like scarcity and lack and fear, even though I worked in strategy, finance, and operations and made 6 figures with corporate, generated 6 to 8 figures consistently, because it is different and it hits different when you're the one creating and scaling a life and business you love. And I joke but not joke that like entrepreneurship is often like running through the streets naked. Like it requires such a level of vulnerability and facing yourself. And one of my blog posts, I talk about how transformation is required to create a life and business you love, because if you're not healing and you're not developing and you're not growing in the process and releasing thoughts or beliefs that no longer serve you, friends, it's going to show up in your life and in your business. I am living proof, okay? So in 2020, I woke up, I wake up all the time in different levels, right? But 2020, it was almost like a ding, ding, ding that I realized a couple things. 1, I wasn't celebrating all my wins. I was being super hard on myself. 2, I realized, Katrina, you don't have a dashboard. You have always run departments or groups or teams off dashboards and like key performance indicators, and you created them. Why aren't you running your life and your business on one? So one of the things, as I was implementing ClickUp, I realized, I said, wait a minute, let's set up a dashboard. It's one of the reasons why I love ClickUp, their tool, the interaction with the team, the automation, and the dashboard. So I created a dashboard, and then I created my first version of a goal sheet that tied into goals, overall for life and business in ClickUp. But then the spreadsheet included goals overall in the business, then business to business goals and conversions, then business to consumer goals and conversions with social media, with email lists and things like that, so that I knew at least once a week or once a month I was tracking, and I'm tracking these metrics and I'm helping others create it too. Speaking of, number 3, you have a visual dashboard where you track regularly what's happening with your tasks, your sprints, your launch, your money, your priorities, like all the things. So I have a visual dashboard with 7+ graphs, but then I also have top 3 priorities all the time that greet me when I go into ClickUp, okay? You have at least 1 online automated freebie to build your email list. That is your currency, friends. I send out different things like moneymaker emails or other things, or my newsletter, or creator confessions. That is your moneymaker. That is where you're cultivating on deeper levels connection with people. Yes, it's on social. Yes, it's via email. But once people enroll into your freebies, into your newsletter, you begin to cultivate a deeper connection and community with them. And do not overlook that. You have at least 1 proven marketing strategy that gets you, listen up, consistent leads monthly, okay? At least 1. You are sharing at least 1 offer monthly to monetize. So that tells me also that you're consistent in your marketing and you are not being shy, and it's not about you, that you are putting yourself out there in your business. You have a clear business to business and business to consumer launch strategy overlapping at least 3 channels. Some of you just blew up your brain. Some of you are like, what is she talking about? Sounds like she's speaking Spanish. Yo hablo también español, si quieres hablar conmigo. I also speak Spanish, for those of you that didn't know what I just said. So let me break it down. Business is business means you are reaching out to people in leaders and directors and VPs in Fortune 500 companies, in HR, in marketing, take your pick, right? And or you are pitching brands directly for ongoing projects, for retainers, for influencer engagements, ongoing, business to business, not one-off, not scarcity. You're developing relationships. And business to consumer is, maybe on Instagram, maybe on YouTube, maybe on Skillshare, whatever that is, right? But then there's overlap between them that you're sharing on at least 3 channels, like say email, such as Instagram and LinkedIn. Boom, done, right? So that gives you a clear example of what I mean, right? So it's not complicated, you guys. And one of the things I tell people all the time is marketing is really just sharing. And marketing and influencer marketing is simply word of mouth. And when you start to reframe your brain to those mindsets and talking to a friend, like Ashley, when we went on our Cuba retreat, that was one of the things she said when I was so at first paralyzed on talking on video. She said to me, Katrina, all it is really is just pretend as if you're talking to your best friend. And then it was as if a magical light bulb went off in my brain. You are using at least one financial tool to manage your money in your business. QuickBooks, Mint, again, take your pick. I utilize Financial Peace University. I utilize QuickBooks. I utilize LifePlan. I utilize Clever Girl Finance. Those are just some of the tools and the resources to help, okay? You are on at least one marketing platform to bring you business. So some of you may consider that Instagram, but is it truly bringing you business regularly? But then to me, that can also be a platform like Brain Trust or Indeed as an example for those two. So comment down below on what is resonating with you on the second question and if you've taken the assessment yet. So let's talk about the stability of your business in terms of the assessment. So I highly, highly encourage you, if you haven't yet, take the assessment because it is going to blow your mind, okay? So stability, you are monetizing at least 2 to 3 ways and clear on your next step. You have a financial forecast and a tool you use to track results regularly, okay? You have used a visual dashboard or you've created one to track regularly what's happening with your top 3 priorities and your money. You have at least one online automated freebie to build your email list. Automated, case in point. You have at least one proven marketing strategy that's getting you consistent leads monthly, whether that's outreach, whether that's a platform, whether that's social media, take your pick, okay? You are sharing at least one offer monthly to monetize on a consistent basis. You have a clear business to business to consumer strategy with at least 3 channels. So maybe you're outreaching to brands via email or you have an email strategy and that's tying to your social media and it's on 3 different platforms, automated and or delegated as a quick example, okay? You are using at least one financial tool to manage your money and your business. And you are on at least one marketing platform to bring you business, okay? So think about all those things and would love to know what results you end up getting on the assessment. Way through the assessment, just so you know where we're at on this part, okay? And I made it this in-depth on purpose because I really wanted you to dig deep to see for yourself where you are, okay? Like you're answering this, I'm simply guiding you through the assessment as an extra bonus on top of the assessment that's already at the link, okay? So what have you done in the past to create and scale your marketing? This is a really, really, really important question. Every question is important on the assessment, but this is really, really important. DIY, invested in one coach, implemented over 3 items, invested in an online program, completed an online program in the first 90 days that you enrolled, gotten at least 3 results. So where are you with creating and scaling, and the actions and initiatives that you've taken and the investments? So what's interesting is, you guys, I created this assessment and I didn't actually even take it myself until now. And I am a huge believer in perfect aligned timing. And what I'm taking it as I'm recording these videos, and I'm finding so far, I've checked off every single one, but keep in mind, this is now 7 years in the making. So I want to save you time and money and heartache and frustration and all the things, whether you simply engage with me on this assessment, whether you jump into deeper relationships in different ways with the freebies, the courses, different experiences. But either way, like Einstein said it, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. Let's stop that, please. We are human beings, not human doings, and let's stop beating our heads against the wall, and let's stop throwing spaghetti on the wall, okay? 2 things with the wall, let's stop. So now let's get into growth with marketing. And modern marketing has absolutely changed in so many exponential ways, right? So, part of my story is I'm also an MBA, I'm also a CPA. I've worked in 7+ industries in strategy and in finance, predominantly in operations. But I recognize the deep need, 2 things. I recognize the deep need for me to educate and immerse myself in modern marketing in around 2015. And then I also remembered how great I was at it organically back in college, and simply sharing word of mouth about organizations I was in, things that I was, creating, co-creating in teams and communities. And I started applying those same principles in the framework of modern marketing, being authentic, engaging, creating foundation, stability, growth, and then also taking the things that I learned in corporate, that I learned, in serving in different avenues, that I learned in having, various different businesses, and then creating Fit Life Creation and create it, a life and business you love, create it like a boss, and recognized through my own growth and development and pouring into myself, the things that are required for strategy, structure, systems, foundation, stability, and growth. And that is what the intention of this video is, and this, this experience, and what I want to give to you to save so much time, energy, money, etc. Okay, so let's get into the growth. You are automating at least 5 things on your website, your blog, and social media. And some of you just cowered. Or some of you are curious and excited and are asking, Katrina, what do you mean by that? So glad you asked. You're using maybe different tools to automate posts from one social media platform to another. You are delegating different things to free up your time intentionally. Whether it's social media, whether it's business development, whether it's research, or all the above. You are on at least 1 to 5 business development platforms and or Facebook groups, getting at least 7+ regular leads monthly, so that people are aware of who you are. People are aware of what you do. After I finish filming these videos, I have something coming up later on today in a community that I'm a part of that's exactly that. You are collaborating with at least 7 creators, influencers, and partners quarterly, at least 7, to again, expand awareness, connect, serve, community. You have bundled digital and physical products together ongoing, like in a subscription model or things like that. Your launches include at least 4 platforms with repurposed content. Like this content is getting repurposed in 7+ ways. Some of you also just wondered, how is she doing that? How does she still have time for wellness? Teams, tech, and tools. I start with first strategy, I outline steps. Then my first go-to is tech. It is 2023 as of the recording of this video. There are so many different ways to scale and leverage with tech. Then, well, first it's tips. Like I think of things, in terms of making it simpler, simplify to amplify. Then I go to tech, and then I go to teams to delegate, okay? Then, beyond that, you have pitched and negotiated brands for long-term six-figure deals. So notice I didn't say one deals. I said you have pitched and or negotiated long-term deals, because that tells me initiative, that tells me confidence, okay? You have launched a live event or retreat in the last 5 years. And the reason why I did it 5 years was because obviously with the pandemic and all the different things, there were some shifts that some of us chose to accept or allow or invite, or some of us like me that chose to literally fly away and travel for almost 2 years through 3 continents and 10 countries. That's a whole nother topic and a whole nother video. You have reached a minimum of $10,000 months with your business. That tells me also a lot of initiative, a lot of focus, a lot of not giving up, a lot of persistence and perseverance. That you've overcome so many different mindsets, so many different lies in your mind. And I want to take a moment to pause, because there's power in the pause. And I want to acknowledge you. I want to acknowledge all of you for showing up and listening this far along. Okay, number one, I'm so grateful for you. I'm so grateful that you're choosing to create it. But number two, if you've reached that level, there's a level of faith, of action, of persistence, of perseverance that is required to be here now. So celebrate that. Get something, do an experience, take yourself out to lunch if you haven't yet. Celebration is so underrated. That's one of the things that I want to encourage more people to do, is celebrate it. Celebrate, celebrate, celebrate. You are delegating at least 10 items monthly to a VA and or a part-time contractor. You have at least a plan for your first full-time contractor and or employee. You have achieved time freedom. You have achieved location freedom. So that's the growth segment. Comment down below on where you're at in growth in the assessment. And if you haven't yet, definitely take the online assessment down below. Okay, now that we've walked through the foundation, the stability, and the growth, and the question on investment, now I want you to really go within and let me know, which stage do you most resonate with? Is it foundation? You have a personal brand, you have some social media channels, and you're making some money. Those are the 3 triggers or indicators when I think of foundation. Stability, you have all the above, and you're building your email list. You have at least one freebie. You're monetizing at least one item regularly and launching it consistently. And you have at least one regular incoming lead source. Okay, so that's stability. Number 3, growth. I have all the above, have scaled some, and have worked with some creators and have consistent income, typically over $10,000 a month. So comment where you're at with what stage currently. Okay, so what do you have left to complete? Now that you've seen the assessment, now you've walked through all the things, what do you have left to complete in your marketing? Now let's get into, what option are you most interested in for your marketing function? Are you most interested in the fractional CMO as a regular ongoing partner in your business, fractional CMO online and group coaching, and or 1-month beta and a personal CMO monthly, or the 1-month beta and the CMO online? So obviously I'm also using this for market research and would love to see you weigh in. So where are you with your marketing now? So if you are ready to get started with a fractional CMO like a boss, head on over to the link below where you can dive deep into the assessment and learn much, much more about the program. Let's create it. And remember, create, transform, and inspire because you are born to. Let's create it.